If I'd known owning a quiet ranch meant going to war with a woman in a red blazer and a fake badge, I might have just stayed in the suburbs. But when she fined me for fishing in my own lake, I didn't get mad. I bought the pond she claimed was hers and banned her forever. It all started on a crisp Texas morning out in Hillstone. Birds were chirping, the bass were biting, and I had my coffee in one hand, rod in the other, standing on the dock of my own private lake. I wasn't bothering anyone. That peace lasted maybe 5 minutes. "Excuse me, sir!" I turn around and there she is, marching down my property like she's storming the Capitol. Her name was Sherry Vaughn. Red HOA blazer stitched by hand. Hair styled like she was auditioning for PTA dictator. And a laminated badge that looked like it came out of a cereal box. She points at me with acrylic claws longer than my fishing rod and says, "You're in violation of community fishing codes." I actually left. I thought it was a prank. But she was dead serious. Said I needed a permit to fish in what she called a protected waterway. "Ma'am," I said, "this is my land, my lake. I've got the deed, the taxes, and the mosquito bites to prove it." She didn't care, handed me a handwritten ticket for $500, and strutted away like she'd just saved the planet. That night, I built a wooden sign and nailed it right by the gate. "No Karens allowed." It was petty, sure, but I figured that'd be the end of it. It wasn't. Next day, 2 p.m. sharp, she rolls in with Roy, the HOA's nervous little secretary, carrying what looked like a pool testing kit and a clipboard full of nonsense. "Sherry?" She's in rubber boots and gloves, like she's investigating a chemical spill. She dips a strip into my lake and gasps like she just discovered nuclear waste. "Elevated contamination levels," she said to her phone camera, because of course she was filming the whole thing. Neighbors started gathering. Bob Williams, lives 2 houses down, couldn't help himself. "Ma'am," he called, "why are you testing that like it's a urine sample?" That one got a chuckle, but the woman was on a mission. She slapped me with another fine, this time $750, and claimed my fishing rod was endangering the ecosystem. At this point, I knew I was dealing with a woman who wasn't just power tripping. She was building a fantasy where she ruled the community with a chlorinated fist. That night, Nora Whitman, my 70-year-old neighbor, showed up with cookies and a knowing smile. She sat in my kitchen and said, "Honey, that woman's full of fertilizer. You're not her first rodeo." Turns out, Sherry had run similar scams on other neighbors, bullying them into paying fake fines just to keep the peace. But Nora said something else that stuck. "We used to have a real community pond before they buried it under 6 cookie-cutter houses." That was the spark. I called the Hendersons, an old couple on the edge of the neighborhood, the last folks who still had a real pond. They were ready to sell and move to Florida. So I bought it. The original community pond. 3 acres of clear water, shady trees, and poetic justice. Then came Sherry's big moment, an emergency HOA meeting to present her evidence against me. PowerPoint, projector, a full performance. She called me an ecological threat and demanded a $2,500 fine and a community-wide fishing ban. I raised my hand and said, "Why don't we all go visit this community pond tomorrow? Let's see the scene of the crime together." She said yes. Next afternoon, I invited the whole neighborhood to the Henderson Pond. Sherry showed up late, of course, heels clicking, camera ready, but the second she stepped out and saw the place, confused, didn't even begin to cover it. "What is this?" she asked. I held up the deed. "This," I said, "is the real community pond. Filled in back in 2003. I just bought it." Gasps, cameras. Nora pulled out photos and meeting notes from the HOA archive. Proof that Sherry's whole case was built on a lie. And then Roy cracked. "She made me fake it," he blurted, almost crying. "She forced me to write those citations." I didn't need to say much after that. Just walked up, hammered a brand new sign into the ground. HOA officials banned. Turned to Sherry and smiled. "You wanted community oversight of water resources," I said. "Congratulations, you got it." So, who was really in the wrong here?